myself. There we go. God, it's driving me nuts. All right, let's try it again. Hi. Happy Wednesday, hump day. And sorry to the headphone wearers. And yes, the people who have external mic, speakers. You know what? I'm just going to drink my coffee and play the intro because I can't figure this out. Johnny, turn that crap off. Thank you. Play the intro. Play the intro!
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
I don't know, AD. Does cocaine cause memory loss? See what happened there? That tells me that this show's going to die in the middle of the show. See how just bam! I clicked the button, went bam! And just everything went quiet. It's going to be one of those days. I can tell you right now. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight, on the internet. Still going with the festive activities of the birth of our country and stuff. But I can't seem to get my crap together. So is Johnny about to be fired? You know what? You're playing with fire over there, you. Anyway, it is the 5th of July, 2023, where all you, what do they call it? People living on stolen land can think about your transgressions. Good Lord. Tired of hearing that mantra. Look, everyone on the planet lives on stolen land one way or another. And I wouldn't say even stolen. I would say conquered land. And you know how we don't like, how they, like, did I say this the other day? They would want to take down all the statues, right? Of the Confederate people who lost because you want to salute to losers. Well, sorry, peeps. I'm not celebrating the losers now either, but our purpose is try to be a better nation and get everyone a chance to get involved in it. So, there's some stupid people out there bitching about 4th of July yesterday, and I'm telling them to just go to hell. I don't care. You don't like it here? There's the door. Biatch! Anyway. Can you tell I'm having a morning? I got the big cup of coffee today, the Big Daddy cup, and I really, really needed it. So let's just get into the show since I'm already running late today. First in the chat over on Rumble is Advocatus Diabli, who gets the bell. Also, good morning to Resolute Germ and Next Gen Troll. That's everyone on Rumble who's chimed in the chat so far. There are, 6, 7 people over there. Thank you for watching. On YouTube, first in the chat is also Advocatus Diabli, who gets the bell. Thank you, sir, for joining me and being first and being ever diligent in your viewing habits of this show. I appreciate you more than you know. Plus, you contribute a hell of a lot in the chat, and I always appreciate your keen sense of wisdom and wit. So, also on YouTube, good morning, JMK, Rotten Corpse, Tyrannus Alexandrius, Invictus Lich. I didn't play the music today. Also, Chicago Mike, what's up? Good morning. Tribute Liberty, what's up, my friend? Rick Ashbringer, what's up? I almost said Steppenwolf. Is Steppenwolf Born to be Wild? Born to be Wild. But it's Septus Wolf. I just got my what's it called? When you're dyslexic. Dyslexia. I got my dyslexia on. So I was saying Steppenwolf. Good morning also to Special K on Acid, fake news expert, Aaron Meredith, and I think that's everybody. Okay. Big Daddy Ball rules. Yes. Ball rules all. it's yeah, that's this is when I was basketball coaching. We'd wear a lot of Nike stuff, and they gave us weird sayings. And it looks weird on the monitor too. Now that I'm looking at it, let me see something here. Does it look as weird to you as it does to me? Oh, this looks weird on my monitor, but not yours because it's more in scale. Anyway, I hope you're having a morning. I hope you're having a morning, unless you're in the afternoon. Magic Carpet Ride. Yes, that's a good one too. After cocaine, it's Magic Carpet Ride. Well, cocaine was Eric Clapton, not Steppenwolf. So, anyway, I like to be inside. Why don't you come with me, little girl, on a magic carpet ride? Well, you know what that reminds me of? What's that movie with Matthew McConaughey? And they're trying to find a ship that was shipwrecked when the desert was a sea. I really kind of like that movie. I can't think of the name of it though. That's a good movie. So anyway, they did an album called Monster that was all about the fall of America. Did they? Steppenwolf did that? Interesting. Wait, Puff. No, why are we? Okay, now we're just all doing all kinds of things with magic and Puff and cocaine and things like that. Let's move on. Let's move on to some things that are happening in the world today. I think you just made that movie up. No, I didn't make that movie up. It's what the hell's it called? And they have to go to, let's see, were they selling a gun to some guy in the desert, and he shoots one of his guards there, and then they go to this place that has like a big Sahara. That's it. Thank you, JMK. I knew I wasn't losing my mind. Yes, Sahara. I enjoyed that movie. I mean, it wasn't a great movie, but it was an enjoyable movie. And at the beginning of that movie, when they're riding, they're taking the boat and they're going through whatever on the boat, and the song Magic Carpet Ride was playing. That's what it reminds me of, that movie. Dawg, what's up? It's been a long time, friend. All right, what's going on in the world? Things trending. Yesterday was the 4th of July. By the way, our 4th of July was spent. I told you, when we have a day off, Lady Boomer and I, we have the same day off. We tend to go places, right? It doesn't have to be a long way, but so yesterday, let me go back. A few days ago, I was looking at the Instagram page of a site called Explore Minnesota. It's the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources and their national parks or whatever place guide, and they have an Explore Minnesota page, and they had this list. Okay, they had a list of 10 great waterfalls in Minnesota, and I'm like, oh, I should check out this list since we have seen many waterfalls in the state of Minnesota. Lady Boomer and I are just into going and seeing waterfalls. So I'm looking through the list. I'm like, yep, seen that one, seen that one, seen that one. Oh, haven't seen that one. See that one, that. Oh, and that one. Out of the 10, we'd already seen 8 of them. So we said, well, 4th of July, got a day off or whatever, you got nothing to do. And we said, hey, let's go see if we can go see one of the waterfalls we hadn't seen yet. So we drove 100 miles west from where we live, and went and saw the waterfall. It's called Ramsey Park in Redwood Falls. And this park, man, this is a beautiful. Oh, we took the dog with us too. This park is just beautiful. I mean, it's like this, this beautiful creek and water and hills and cliffs and the stream going through with the rocks in the stream. And they have this beautiful stone bridge they built to drive over. And then they have all these trails and there's different bridges that go over the stream and whatever in different places. And it has this beautiful waterfall. It's Redwood Falls, Minnesota. It's what I said it was called Ramsey Park Falls, and it was gorgeous. And I put a little. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, either Marty's Big Journey, and I also have I just started a Dawg Knight Instagram too. But on Marty's Big Journey, I put a picture of it or a video of the waterfall on there this morning. It's just gorgeous place. But the weird thing, so this is a town, Redwood Falls. I think it has about 4,000 people in it, right? Maybe a few more, right? And so we go to this town, and it's the 4th of July, right? And most little towns have a little 4th of July celebration or something going on. And, we went there like around lunch. We left around lunchtime. We didn't eat yet. So we'd like think, okay, well, we'll just wait till we get to Redwood Falls. Drive 2 hours to Redwood Falls. Mostly on 2-lane highways too. And Western Minnesota in the summer, it's just beautiful. Farmland, green, go through trees, little forest, and all kinds of stuff, right? And we get to Redwood Falls, and like the first 2 restaurants you see, they're closed. We're like, wait a minute, it's 4th of July. It's not like, whatever. Those restaurants closed, and we go in the old time downtown area, and there's nothing open there. There's nobody to be seen anywhere. We're like, wow, this town is completely dead on the 4th of July. And they didn't have a 4th of July celebration in this town. Hello, Swirly, what's up? And so anyway, we go to the park, see the waterfall, walk around, go on some of the trails, take the dog with us, whatever. And so then we're like, oh, shit. All right, there's no place to eat. So we kind of get out our phones and like looking on websites. Is there anything going on in this area? And nothing in Redwood Falls. So we went over to a town called Morton, right? And there's this Morton is a town of like 600 people. And usually it doesn't count as a town unless there's a bar and a church. And Morton has both a bar and a church. It's called the Corner Bar. And they had one of the, the beanbag tossing things. Like a lot of people, I think, call it cornhole or whatever, the beanbag toss game. They had a beanbag tossing contest there, which I did not participate. But we went in this little, stunky little bar in Morton, Minnesota. And they had actually really good food in this place called the Corner. And then we went a little farther towards what's the other town that we were going to? There's another town right outside of Morton. There's a reservation, and they have a casino called Jackpot Junction. But also there's some history down in this reservation because the Indian Wars of the early 1860s in Minnesota were kind of a big deal back then. And so we went to what they called the Lower Sioux Agency. There's these 2 Sioux agencies where they used to. It was almost like they had a bank, so to speak, the storehouse, where they would store food and people could store their food there and they could take it out or whatever. But for some reason, the agency had kind of control over when they could take stuff out. And so it was called the Great Sioux Uprising because the people who had the treaty there, the natives had the treaty there, were angry that they weren't rationing out the provisions, and they were starving. So they attacked this place called this agency, and it's right near this Army Fort Ridgely. And so anyway, we're going around there, and we went to the agency, and they have this trail with all these placards where you can read about it and stuff. It's actually a really cool trip for just a day trip. So, like I said, I say often, a lot of people say, oh, we don't have time to take vacations. We don't have time to this. We don't have time to that. You do. You have time to do that kind of stuff. You do. You just don't think about it. If you have a day off with a friend or a spouse or, a significant other, make sure you don't spend those days doing mundane stuff like laundry or mowing the lawn. Do all that stuff during the week. Then that little time you have after work or before work, whatever, do all that stuff then. So that your days off, you can take a vacation in one day and just get away and get your mind off everything. And it was just great, especially this park we went to was great walking and all that stuff. So we basically felt like we had a complete vacation in about a total of, I think we left our house at noon and we were home by 8:00. So in 8 hours, we went on a vacation that just refreshes your brain. So make sure you do that kind of stuff every once in a while. All right, that's not really what I want to talk about today. Let's get into today's trending topics, and then we'll talk about the main new article today, which has to do with something that a judge did. All right, first, things trending in the news today, though. By the way, thank you, Scribe Light and Tyler F, for dropping the link and putting out the tweet, whatnot. Please, you are the sponsors of this show. Share the stream, hit the like button during the show, and you can throw a couple of bucks in the tip jar if you feel like it. I appreciate it when you do, or if you don't. Either way, the show is free, but it will help me in the long run, especially when I'm going to be out. Let's be here's the violin strings right now. When I'm going to be out of work for probably 8 weeks after I get my hip replaced in August. So I'm trying to prepare for that, and we'll deal with that. Anyway, here we go. Things trending from yesterday. 4th of July was yesterday, and one of the greatest. Okay, this I gotta set myself up for this. One of the most dominant athletes of all time in any sport competition or whatever. One of the most dominant people ever did it again. And trending on Twitter. Mr. Joey Chestnut. Joey Chestnut, the man, the myth, the legend, won his 17th time champion of Nathan's hot dog eating contest. This man is a machine. I mean, one of the greatest athletes of all time, Joey Chestnut. So here's our dude, Joey Chestnut. Now this guy says, hear me out. I'm not saying that Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest is going to happen, but Joey Jaws just came out and said, and I quote, "I'm going to get the rest of the guys out. We're going to do this." So apparently yesterday I just happened to look at I was looking at the internet briefly while we were just, I think we were at a little quick trip place or whatever. And apparently I heard that this was canceled. The Nathan's hot dog eating contest was canceled because of the weather. All right. And it wasn't. Joey Chestnut said, "Hey, get y'all asses out here. We're going to do this." And so Joey Chestnut, and also during the contest, watch this. This is great. In the middle of this year's contest, let me show you the video here. In the middle of the contest, there was a protester that came. Okay, see, is my cursor on the screen? Can you see this? I don't know if you see my cursor. Anyway, the 1, 2, 3rd from the left, that's Joey Chestnut. Watch what happens right here. This is only 6-second clip, and here it is. This guy comes out he came out to protest, and Joey Chestnut not only choked him out, but came back from that choke out to win the contest. He did 62 hot dogs in 10 minutes. That's crazy. That's well below his record though, which I think was 75. I think it was his record, but this year he did 62. What did the sign even say? Let's go see what the sign said. It was some guy being a smartass. Let's see. Let's look at this. What's this sign say? It says, "Expose Mythfield Death Star," and he has a little Darth Vader mask on. Now, he didn't belong there. And Joey said, hey, dude, get the hell out of here. Oh, he's dying. He's dead. He was beaten with 20. What? He was beaten with 20 pounds of frozen sabrets? What are sabrets? What's a sabret? I don't know what a sabret is. Anyway, Joey choked him out and then continued and won the contest handily. Let's see here. Now, there's also, I want to show you the introduction that he got though. Listen to this introduction for Joey Chestnut. This is when you know someone is respected. Listen to this introduction, Joey Chestnut.
15,000 generations of humanity, yet we have evolved not at all. Bound like animals to the laws of physics, shamed before the universe. And in all of history, only one man has stood to say that he will dictate what is and is not possible in this world. I speak of this man.
6'1", 230 pounds of eating magic, eating domination, eating
cause
Amazement.
and opening all possibilities before us. And the ancient powers are subordinated to their own creation. And they smile at his
What kind of
achievement.
introduction is this? This is
And they say,
amazing.
"He shall live
Look at him.
forever."
He's
For
ready.
he does
Joey
not do it
Jaws.
for money. He does not do it for glory. He does it for his people. He does it for his country. He does it for freedom. And the gods shine down on us now. And the gods shine down on us still.
Yes.
Because of him alone. Because of him alone. The Nathan's famous 4th of July champion of the world. Joey Chestnut!
Now that's an introduction. So here's the thing. Yeah, he eats hot dogs. I got you, AD. But nobody, there is nobody, not Margaret Court, not Yvonne Lendl, not who else? Not even Tom Brady. Not Tom Brady. Not nobody's not Michael Jordan. This is the Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Sabrina Williams, all of them combined for eating hot dogs. Anyway, he wins number 62. 62. Not even close to his record though, but still, it was enough to win this year. And good for Joey Chestnut. Congratulations, Joey Chestnut. You the man, the myth, and the legend. Also trending on Twitter today, Ben & Jerry's is trending, and certainly not for something nearly as patriotic as eating hot dogs. I'm just saying, Ben & Jerry's is trending because they've decided to Ben & Jerry's, yes, the kings of overpriced ice cream. Basically told Bud Light hold my beer by adding a little disclaimer on the sides of their ice cream containers, and that says this: the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land. This 4th of July, let's commit to returning it. So basically, Ben & Jerry's have outdone themselves on stupidity. Here's someone here. In fact, there's a New York Post article. Here it is. Someone said here, I was walking around yesterday with my kids and wanted to get ice cream. I stood outside of Ben & Jerry's and, excuse me, Googled if they were still having Israel issues. Because I'm sorry, I'm having my own issues here. Excuse me. And then I saw this tweet pop up on Google, and I was like, nah, found another ice cream spot. Ben & Jerry's claims U.S. exists on stolen indigenous land on the 4th of July. And sues, make them Bud Light again. Ben & Jerry's has called for the U.S. to return stolen indigenous land in a bold 4th of July message. Taking to social media, the ice cream company divided fans over its Independence Day post, tweeting, the United States is founded on stolen indigenous land this 4th of July. Let's commit to returning it. The similar message on its website, the company argued that 4th of July festivities and celebrations can distract from an essential truth about this nation's birth. Ben & Jerry's proposed to start with Mount Rushmore, writing, what is the meaning of Independence Day for those whose land this country stole, those who were murdered and forced with brutal violence into reservations, those who were pushed from their holy places and denied their freedom? The faces of Mount Rushmore are the faces of men who actively worked to destroy indigenous cultures and way of life. Well, not really. No, they didn't, because they weren't here when the land expanded out that far. But even so, look, Look, okay, here's the thing. Here's something I just got to say. And I said it already, but the same reason we don't prop up the, because these are the same people who would say, okay, you don't want to have statues to Confederate generals because, well, they lost and they were the insurrectionists and all that stuff, right? And look, which indigenous people still, does it belong to? because the land that we conquered, whatever, they certainly stole that land from somebody too, right? They didn't. The land is constantly, people have constantly fought for land for centuries in every place in the world. There is no place in the world that somebody didn't push somebody off of. And what we need to do, rather than, and look, by the way, all of the people who think this way, I have a suggestion. I have a suggestion. All right. Give up your land and donate it to someone with Native American heritage or indigenous, whatever, Wubataka land. All right. You give up your land, and then things will be fine. You have the agency to give up your land, and then we don't have to worry about everybody else's land. How's that sound? Do it. You do it. You go ahead and do it. Ben and Jerry, you have you guys are worth millions and millions of dollars. And I'm sure you have farms in wherever you produce your product, and you have these places where they have the cows that you force impregnate so they can continue to produce milk, right? And you have all these, all this land. Give up your land, shut down your factories, and shut the fuck up. And move back to wherever your ancestors came from, okay? There. Then you can be a part of the solution to the problem that you are certainly most concerned about. There you go. Go ahead, give it back. Just like, what's that? Well, that's an Australian song, but what's something? Beds are burning, that song, remember? How can dance while the earth is turning? How can we sleep while our beds are burning? Okay, let's give it back. You give yours back. That's fine. Knock yourself out. If every one of you have this, everyone, like the Seattle City Council, when they have that statement, they have the indigenous land statement. Hey, you know what? Every one of you have a house in Seattle. You probably live on some nice land. Most of you probably have pretty good plot there, right? Give your plat back. Okay? That you could start. What's that word? There's a song. You know that song, Let There Be Peace on Earth, and let it begin with me. Begin with yourself, okay? And then worry about what everyone else is doing. Or better yet, begin with yourself and don't worry about what everyone else is doing. You give yours back, and then you go back to wherever your ancestors are from. Problem solved. That'll solve a big problem. All right. Lord Stanhope, good morning. Brett Hayes, Logan F., nice to have you here. All right, next. Bill de Blasio is trending, and unfortunately, this is a sad story, actually. I'm not going to make fun of Bill de Blasio too much. Bill de Blasio is trending because the former New York City mayor and Chirlane McCray are separating. They are going to be separated, which is sad. That's a sad story. Except, here's the weird part. Okay. Hi, Renee Mayette. Good morning, my friend. They're separating, but they're not planning on getting a divorce. And they're not planning on moving away from each other. In fact, they're going to continue to share their Park Slope townhouse, but they're going to debate, or they're going to start dating other people. They're separating. They're not planning to divorce, but they will date other people and continue to share the Park Slope townhouse. What's that? Is that a child? No, that's his wife. That's his wife, Chirlane McCray. They're what? They're separating. They're going to date other people, but they're not going to move out or divorce. So this is weird, kind of. I don't know. This is kind of that's weird. Are they gonna I'm not gonna. I was gonna get into some weird cuck thing, the cuckoldery thing. I don't get it. Look, if you're why what. So they're gonna bring their dates home? I just don't know. You can write your own story for that one. Hi, Maddie. How you doing? Good morning. Why isn't that working? There we go. Good morning, Maddie. So, I write your own punchlines. All right, moving on. Also trending is Cori Bush. Cori Bush, the congresswoman from St. Louis, over the holiday. Well, this is another one of these. Why is that doing? Oh gosh, is this going to be a problem? I got to feel like this is going to freeze. Cori Bush tweeted yesterday, the Declaration of Independence was written by enslavers and didn't recognize black people as human. Today's a great day to demand reparations now. Congresswoman. Does she realize? Well, first of all, they knew that slaves were human, but that's okay. But did she realize that not all black people were slaves when the Declaration of Independence was written? Did she know that? Clearly they knew some people were human, right? And in fact, most of them even recognized that slaves were human. I didn't recognize black people as human. What is she talking about? The Declaration makes zero reference to race. Well, that's true too, but that's not even the point. That's not even the point I'm making. My point is, they did. They did recognize black people because they're black. They were free blacks. There were black people owned slave during the Declaration of Independence. That's kind of weird. Hi, James Colley. First of all, so a lot of people are giving her shit like that. Carmen Sabia said today's a fantastic day to tell Cori Bush that reparations are never going to happen. She knows it. Like student loan forgiveness, it is a carrot Democrats wave that they know they will never get. That's possible. And it's interesting because California is thinking about giving reparations to people who might be descendants. I don't even know what California is the latest on it. We talked about how San Francisco, they were talking about giving $5 million to every black person, which would be already like 8 times their current yearly budget. But anyway, this one said California, let me get this straight, the state that had never allowed it. Yeah, California is weird. It's California's thinking about doing this, although Gavin Newsom said this ain't happening. But they're talking about a state that never allowed slaves, is thinking about taking money from people who never owned slaves to give to people who never were slaves. My whole thing on the reparations idea we talked about yesterday, and I think it's just, it's beyond a point where it's even feasible. Plus the fact that, we're a country that ended slavery, a country that ended slavery. I think we're the 3rd country to end slavery. We were, as a country, first of all, who are you asking for reparations from? Because, we always hear this 400 years, right? 400 years, 1619, 400 years, except, wait a minute. One, we weren't a country. We haven't been a country for 400 years. And that 400 years, they're going from 1619 to 2019. Well, wait a minute. Slavery ended in 1865, and the country only started in 1889, technically, with the Constitution. So how exactly... Who are you asking for reparations from? Because are they saying that because we fought to be an independent country that we take over the debts of the British, who were the ones who had the colonies that had the slavery, right? And then we ended it within a generation. Do you count? Who do you get? Do you get it from the Spanish? This from Spain and Portugal and the Arab nations that were the slave traders? Do you get it from the people who caught the slaves in Western Africa, the kings that were there? Do you get reparations? Who are you getting the reparations from? See, they always bring up, the people who were the age, like for example, the Japanese people and during World War II when they did the internment camps and they were compensated for that. Well, we know directly who to give it from. The government did it and the government paid them back. Or they go the reparations of some of the Jewish people from Germany. Well, Germany, clearly the people who did it and the people who were still alive were the ones who got forms of payment, right? How do you do that now when we're 3 to 4 generations beyond that? How do you know that every single person, look, every person that was rich in, let's say 1865, we'll start with there. Every rich family there, did any of those families go broke between now and then? Like, we're not talking about the slave families, but the white families, because they say, oh, generational wealth. Well, there's not always, generational wealth is not guaranteed. So the calculations they've been doing, you get 5 billion, right? No. How? No. How do you calculate that? How do you calculate who would have been still wealthy 200 years later or 100 years later? You can't. Generational wealth has never been guaranteed, and clearly there's cases where families went completely bust and had to start over. So I don't know. I haven't thought the entire argument through, but there's a whole lot of problems with it. Moving on. Also trending today, the White House. Now we're going to get into some of the main topics today. The White House is trending. And there is a whole new meaning to White House right now. I did say hi to Ty. Hello, Amazing Disgrace. Another new listener that I appreciate you coming back. One generation is all it takes to pull out of poverty, except under extreme circumstances. Exactly. Masons and carpenters built this country. Slave labor helped. Well, everybody, look, the idea that, black people built this country. Slaves built. No, not the current country. Everybody built this country. Everybody who is here, everyone who has generations here built this country. Look, we weren't clearly we didn't build. We built some of the money from the slave labor, which was 3% of the actual. 3% of the people in the South owned slaves, or 3% total, and it was like 5% in the South owned slaves. There was clearly those people had some wealth from it, but the whole country wasn't built because of it. And there's you mean the Industrial Revolution had nothing to do with this country being built the way it is now? So anyway, that's silly. Let's get back to the White House, though. The White House is trending because there's a whole new meaning of White House. Oh, white lines white lines going through my mind. Let's go do some coke, oh baby. Okay. Anyway, yes, there's some cocaine found in the White House. That's the reason the White House and Secret Service are both trending, because according to official records, wait a minute, what? According to Fatima Gross Graves, wife of DC U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves, has visited the White House 28 times since the start of the Biden presidency. Oh, isn't it Graves? Isn't that the guy who made the sweetheart deal with Hunter Biden? Interesting. Anyway, no one's going to point out the obvious about the White House cocaine, that it would have to belong to someone who is close enough to the inner circle that they wouldn't be subject to being checked, because that's the only way of getting a sack of coke into the White House. Now, I haven't really paid a great amount of attention to this story, so let's go to the report from Breitbart. Substance testing positive for cocaine found inside the White House. Oh, doom 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 bass doom 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 doom. You know what song I'm talking about. Anyway, a substance found inside the White House on Sunday that prompted an evacuation tested positive for cocaine. If you wanna bring out another, take her out, cocaine. According to the report, the Washington Post reported late Monday evening that the substance found Sunday evening inside the White House was a white powder that indicated positive for cocaine. The report cited official familiar with the investigation of recording of a dispatch from a D.C. fire crew that responded to the incident. The recording of the dispatch is posted on openmhz.com, which posts all radio transmissions from police and fire departments. The post reported that at 8:49 p.m. Eastern Time, a firefighter with the D.C. Fire Department hazmat team radioed the results of a test saying, "We have a yellow bar saying cocaine hydrochloride." That dispatch, which was also reviewed by Breitbart News, came about an hour after the hazmat crew arrived at the White House, according to photos taken by an independent journalist. The Post reported that the dispatch was indeed from the White House call Sunday night, citing an anonymous official familiar with the investigation. The amount of the substance was small, according to the official. The U.S. Secret Service spokesman Stephen Kopech earlier on Monday would not confirm to Breitbart News whether the substance contained cocaine, only saying, quote, "The Secret Service does not comment on an ongoing investigation." But another spokesman, Anthony Guglielmi, told the Post later that the substance undergoing further testing to determine what it is, and authorities are looking into how it got into the White House. The discovery of the substance prompted an elevated security alert and a brief evacuation of the immediate executive mansion. Guglielmi told the outlet he said President Joe Biden was not there at the time. But it was Hunter Biden. Anyway, hello, Hate Camel. What's up? One of the original viewers of the Morning Night Live. So, here's the thing. I could almost guarantee that Hunter Biden was not involved in the cocaine in the White House. Why do I know this? Because Hunter Biden's drug of choice is crack cocaine, not powdered cocaine. This was powdered cocaine. This belonged to Joe Biden. Guaranteed. Okay, never mind. Just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, that brings a whole new meaning to the word White House. White House going through my mind. We looked and looked and looked for 5 seconds and we found nothing. Nothing. I see nothing. Anyway, you know what's weird though? Okay, so every once in a while I looked at my phone once in a while and there was a video during this incident. And I could have sworn it looked like they were wheeling out gurneys with body bags on them. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the hell is that? It was really weird. But maybe they weren't really body bags. Well, they weren't. If we would have heard about the body. We would have heard about the body bags. I don't know if they were body bags. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, they have no idea how it got into the White House. But now I think that, well, I was going to give you a Krastine take on it, but I'm not going to because it's just embarrassing. They're saying, well, maybe they've just found it in an area where the people, a holding area for people touring the White House, and it really had nothing to do with anyone in the White House. Shut up. Shut up. Anyway, all right, let's move on. The main story today, and one that sounds like it would make most of us in the freedom of speech arena happy. A federal judge, this is also on Breitbart, a federal judge has blocked the Biden administration from meeting with social media companies. Now, whoa, before you get too ahead of yourself, don't cheer in yet. I haven't read enough about this yet. So we're gonna go through a few different articles on this because this one seems like it's a big deal. I hope it is. I hope it means that that the judge told the Biden administration to fuck off and stop messing around with people's freedom of speech. But we'll see. Here's the article from Breitbart. Federal Judge Terry A. Doty issued a temporary injunction on Independence Day. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, stop it. On Independence Day, blocking members of the Biden administration from having further contact with social media companies during a censorship trial. Interesting. Hello, Dickhead. Dickhead 9, that's a new person. Your goatee looks like Mr. Fuji. Hunter was doing a portrait of a librarian. Full frontal, quiet parties are the best. Okay, yes, thank you. And welcome to the show, by the way. Over on Rumble, that would be Dickhead 9 over on Rumble. Nice to see you. Welcome to the show. I hope you come back often. Monday through Friday, around 10 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday. Okay, here it is. Critics allege that the federal government censored free speech using private companies to carry out actions that it cannot take under the First Amendment. In doing so, critics say the government stifled scientific debate and weaponized social media platforms to help Democrats and hurt Republicans in recent elections. True. The Washington Post report on Tuesday. The injunction came in response to a lawsuit brought by Republican attorneys general in Louisiana and Missouri who alleged that the government officials went too far in their efforts to encourage social media companies to address posts that they worried could contribute to vaccine hesitancy during the pandemic or upend the elections. The Trump-appointed judge could upend years of efforts to enhance coordination between government and social media companies. That's great. It should. The injunction was a victory for the state attorneys general who have accused the Biden administration of enabling a sprawling federal censorship enterprise to encourage tech giants to remove politically unfavorable viewpoints and speakers, and for conservatives who accuse the government of suppressing their speech. In their filings, the attorneys general alleged the actions amount to the most egregious violation of the First Amendment in the history of the United States of America. Yes. In his order, the judge made some exceptions for communications between the government officials and the companies, including to warn them of national security threats or criminal activities. Now, the Biden administration's collusion with tech companies has occasionally been brazen and unapologetic. Let's see, Joe Pollak, how crazy that the White House push for tech companies to crack down on medical dissent plays right into Trump's legal argument that the big tech is behaving like an arm of the government, therefore must obey the First Amendment. Trump's long shot case just got a lot stronger. Well, yeah, okay. And then Mark Levin agrees, Jen Psaki just made the case for a Trump lawsuit. Okay, Judge Doty previously ruled that former White House press secretary Jen Psaki can be deposed in the case. Should be. She basically admitted it from the White House podium. The case is Missouri versus Biden in the Western District of Louisiana, number blah, 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 blah. All right. That's the take from Breitbart. Let's look at from PJ Media. Court hands down a massive victory for freedom. Freedom! On the 4th of July. Born on the 4th of July. On Independence Day, July 4th, 2020. Wait a minute. This needs some. That almost needs some dramatic music. On Independence Day, July 4th, 2023, the forces of freedom won a major victory, and the Biden regime suffered a historic defeat. May there be many more days like this. Hell yeah. America. Fuck yeah. The Biden regime is okay. This is an editorial, obviously, by Robert Spencer. The Biden regime is authoritarian to the core. Like every hard left authority in the history of the world, it is intolerant of dissent and determined to stamp out all opposition, not by defeating it at the ballot box, and certainly not by besting it in the court of public opinion, but by forcibly silencing it. But on Tuesday, Judge Terry Doherty, Chief U.S. District Judge of the United States District Court of the Western District of Louisiana, put a massive roadblock in the way of Biden's handlers' ongoing efforts to ensure that only their own perspective can be heard in the American public square. In a landmark ruling in Missouri versus Biden, Doherty struck struck back hard against what he called the most massive attack on free speech in the United States history. Doty even began his decision by quoting the most famous adage regarding the importance of the freedom of speech. Quote, "I may disapprove of what you say, but I would defend to the death your right to say it." A statement that is often attributed to Voltaire, but which Doty credits to the early 20th century English writer Evelyn Beatrice Hall, who he mistakenly calls Hill, but that doesn't detract from the power of his ruling. Truth. Doty declares that, quote, "In their attempts to suppress alleged disinformation, the federal government, and particularly the defendants named here, are alleged to have blatantly ignored the First Amendment's right to free speech," end quote. He noted that the plaintiffs allege that defendants, through public pressure campaigns, private meetings, and other forms of direct communication regarding what defendants described as disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Have colluded with and or coerced social media platforms to suppress disfavored speakers, viewpoints, and content on social media platforms. Specifically, he noted, quote, "Hello, Cool Frog, what's up? Plaintiff alleged that defendants suppressed conservative-leaning free speech, such as, 1, suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story prior to the 2020 presidential election. 2, suppressing speech about the lab leak theory of COVID-19's origin. 3, suppressing speech about the efficacy of mask and COVID-19 lockdowns. 4, suppressing speech about the efficacy of COVID-19 vaccines. 5, suppressing speech about election integrity and the 2020 presidential election. 6, suppressing speech about the security of voting by mail. 7, suppressing parody content about defendants. 8, suppressing negative posts about the economy. And 9, suppressing negative posts about President fucking Biden." Okay, didn't say fucking Biden, but whatever, you know what I mean. Hi, Jonathan Peterson. All that is absolutely true, and there are plenty of other examples of the regime's hatred of dissent as well. Regime spokesbeings, however, will tell you that all they really want to do is protect poor, ignorant, distracted, gullible Americans from disinformation. It became clear when the Biden regime established its ill-fated and quickly disbanded Disinformation Governance Board, with that goofy biatch, whatever her name was. It had decided that labeling reports that departed from the officially approved line as disinformation was likely a winning strategy, both to circumvent the First Amendment and to hoodwink Americans into thinking that the crushing of dissent was a valuable service. Yeah, they made it sound like, oh, we're just protecting you from disinformation and misinformation and malinformation. We're just protecting the American people. No, they're fucking with your ability to, speak your mind. They censored professors and doctors from Harvard and Stanford and the University of Chicago. Anyway. You know what I'm saying. So Doty, however, pointed out that it was not the government's role at all to silence opposition voices. Rather, he reminds us that the principal function of free speech under the United States system of government is to invite dispute. It may indeed best serve its high purpose when it induces a condition of unrest, creates dissatisfaction with conditions as they are, or even stirs people to anger. This is as far from the Biden regime's conception of the function of free speech as Los Angeles is from Pluto's moons, and that's precisely why this ruling is so urgently needed and so welcome. Now, you can read the rest of this article because I'm not going to read the rest of it. There's a lot more here. And also, here's the thing. I also put... Now, I got to give... Okay, those are two conservative-leaning interpretations of this ruling. Allow me, however, to give you what I'd like to call the Daily Krasenstein. Yes, one of the Krasenstein brothers has weighed in on this, and it's hilarious. It is fucking hilarious. Here's Ed Krasenstein, and I'm going to do it in an Ed Krasenstein manner. I want to address Judge Doty's banning of various government offices from urging, encouraging, pressuring or inducing in any manner the removal, deletion, suppression, or reduction of content containing protected speech on social media. Wait, urging? Encourage? Okay. Anyway, while I and most other people are pro-free speech, I don't know if a mere suggestion or the government pointing to information that they believe to be incorrect should be deemed as curtailing free speech or not. Okay, dipshit. Let me explain something. Let me tell you something. First of all, it doesn't matter if the government thinks information is correct. It doesn't matter if the government thinks somebody's lying. It doesn't matter if the government thinks, oh, you know, that we just don't like that. It's not their role to suggest anything. The government, because look, when the government suggests something to you, okay, the government suggests you should pay us this much in taxes. Is it a suggestion? When the government does it, does the government have a almost unlimited power to do shitty things to you until you take them to court? Yes. So when the government comes to Facebook or Twitter or Tumblr or whatever damn social media place it is, and they go, well, you know, yes, we're the government, and we are the ones who write the regulations on whether or not you can have your business. And boy, I would certainly hate to see something happen to your business if you didn't, maybe take down this little post that is critical of the CIA, or you take down this little post that's critical of us sending arms to Ukraine, or take down this little post that, is critical of the lockdowns for the stupid 19. We would hate to see something to happen to your little social media site, and we would hate to have to put on more regulations on your social. When the government does it, they have a weird amount of power. It's like when Bill Clinton is getting hammers from what's her face under the desk. There's an imbalance of power there. So whether she thought she wanted to or not, there was still an imbalance of power there, and you don't want that to happen. That shouldn't happen. That's still, well, except for Bill Clinton, because no one's above the law. But Bill Clinton, and that's probably a bad example, right? Because he just got away with that shit. Well, sort of. They took his law license for a year or something. Anyway, it's not the same when the government says, do this. And unfortunately, in this case, the government said, take that down. And the social media company said, we probably should, okay, we'll take some of them down. And actually, some people at Twitter actually pushed back a little bit. But no, the fact that they even had meetings with social media companies saying, well, we want you to suppress this and suppress that. Fuck you. That's a mild way to put it. Anyway, more of the Daily Ed, the Daily Krasenstein. I've always viewed free speech as something that can't be curtailed by the government, especially in the public town square. But I don't know if a mere suggestion without any threats tied to it would be a violation of such. Apparently, this judge does. So for now, I guess it is. Dipshit! Well, I already gave you the example. Yeah. Wait, Monica, why don't you come over here and put this cigar in your nether parts so I can smoke it later. Now, get under that table and blow me. Okay, Mr. President. Well, she wanted to, but whatever. Private companies censor free speech all the time. The government is not a private company. The government telling a private company to suppress your free speech is against the law. If the private company does it themselves, well, they're assholes, but they are a private company. But when the government comes in and says, you know what? We don't like that post that Dr. Peter McCullough from Stanford wrote. We should probably have you take that down. No, you cannot do that, Ed. Private companies censor free speech all the time, whether it's social media, mom and pop stores, a TV or radio station, etc. It happens daily, and it's almost always deemed legal. None of those people are the government, asshole. It is legal for social media to censor what they don't like. It's always been legal for the government to counter free speech with their own information speech. Yeah, with their own information speech, but not telling the social media companies to take it down. Jen Psaki said at the podium at a White House press conference, we have been helping social media companies flag content for removal. What the ever living F do you think that's your role? It's unclear to me exactly what this law prohibits. Is the government allowed to inform a company that information they are putting out is incorrect? No, the company's not putting the information out. It's a social media platform. The Section 230 makes you immune from what people put on your social media platform as liability. That's why there's Section 230 for these assholes. So the government has no business telling them what should be on the site and what should not. Did I finish? I didn't finish the sentence. Is the government allowed to provide a correction? Sure. If you want to provide a correction, use your government Twitter account to respond to things that you think are wrong. You can do that. But to coerce their social media companies to take down the free speech of other people is a violation of the First Amendment. And I hope, look, I hope the appeals courts don't even take this up going, yeah, they got it right. They got it right. Someone's going to appeal this ruling. The government will appeal this ruling. And the appeals courts are going to go, yeah, Judge Doty's completely right here. And then they appeal to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, even 9-0. Yeah, Judge Doty's perfectly right here. Except for Ketanji Jackson Brown, because she's a pliable, do whatever the Biden administration says, and then whatever. So it'll be an 8-1 decision. If someone in social media does the same thing, should the government simply ignore it? What if that information has gone viral and has led to, say, 1 million people drinking bleach because of something the president accidentally said? You dumb motherfucker. Should the government not be allowed to communicate with these companies to let them know that it was a mistake? No, the government could go on that website with their governor account and saying, you know, this please do not drink bleach. This is not going to do this. This is killing millions of people. And we'll put our own social media post out to defeat the bad information. You defeat bad speech with better speech, not by censoring people who might have said something also correct. Shouldn't the government not be allowed to communicate and let them know it was a mistake? What about a public statement saying the FBI noticed a lot of posts claiming X, Y, and Z on Facebook? That is disinformation. Would that be legal? The FBI can post something on their own fucking Twitter account themselves. But the idea that you're going to suppress someone else's speech. Look, this whole thing about freedom of speech when they were written. I don't know if you would look at some of the political campaigns, the political campaigns of the day back in the 1800s and, 70s, the things they called each other, the lies they told about each other, the rumors they spread about each other that were completely false. Just they were dirty as hell. And yet you can't censor speech just because you don't like it, or because it might be wrong, or may become, you counter it with better speech. Personally, he goes on to say, personally, I doubt this ruling holds up. I feel there are too many scenarios in which it could be necessary for the government to communicate with social media. Fuck off, Ed. No. N-O. Here, let me give you one of these. Where's my wrong button? Right here. Here's the question, though. What if the government community notes a tweet? Should that be deemed illegal as well? No. That's how you counter speech. What are you talking about? That's not countering it with more speech does not impugn the rights of the people who originally spoke. But if you take away their ability to speak or censor them, that is something completely different. If you see disinformation, have the FBI reply to that tweet or social media post saying, this is wrong. Here are the facts, and let the chips fall where they fucking may. Holy shit! And then this asshole puts a picture of the judge up here. Wow. I wonder what his purpose for putting a picture of the judge up there was. Unbelievable. Anyway, there's a lot of people responding to this dimwit. And who actually, no, look, I call him a dimwit, which in many ways he is. But I have had communications with Ed Krasenstein, and he's genuinely a nice person. But he's a shill. He's a shill for anything Democrat. He's a shill. Everything he does is a whatabout. If you say anything negative about Biden, he's automatically going to come up with something. Well, what about it? Trump, this kid, and Donald Trump Jr. did this, and blah, 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 blah. And if you see this and that, and the Republicans did this, well, why don't you just address the issue at hand, what we're talking about? All right, now, because I'm out of time, technically, I am going to just pop up a few of the articles that I didn't get to because some of them are interesting. Apparently, the Associated Press has determined that the term patriot is problematic now. So that's how you celebrate Independence Day. The Associated Press kicked off Independence Day celebrations Tuesday with an article explaining why the word patriot has become problematic in recent years. I guess because too many people on the right use it. I don't know. The term patriot in America has become infused with political rhetoric and school curriculums with varying meanings while also being appropriated by white nationalist groups. I'll give you the Daily Wire article and the AP article in the links. Also, legal insurrection. The reality of zero-sum game in college admissions was critical to Supreme Court affirmative action rulings. When we had the affirmative action ruling the other day, and this is a good article just talking about how, because they were so hung up on, admissions to these elite schools where they wanted to have exact, representation, blah, 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 as though there was no other place that people can get an education, and people arguing about these, people arguing about these elite schools that could never get into them. But this is a good article just explaining how that factored into the Supreme Court ruling. You can check that out. In the New York Post, gunman arrested for Philadelphia mass shooting left 5 dead is a BLM activist who wore women's clothes, according to sources. This is one of those mass pew pew events that will probably not get a lot of attention anymore because the demographics don't mix or match what you want it to be. And it was a trans-identifying male, I guess, wore women's clothing and wore a bra, but shot up a bunch of people in Philadelphia. So you probably won't hear much more about this other than this New York Post article. So if you want to hear about it there, or in Oregon, this is hilarious. So I'm torn on this article. I'm very torn because as a man of color, or melanated American, a man who, and a man who occasionally takes hikes in various areas, in Oregon, they have created some separate hiking trails for people of color. Now, this becomes a problem for me as a person of color because, my spouse is, of the less melanated variety. And so sometimes if I go to Oregon, I'm not really sure what trail I should use. And apparently, in Oregon, there's a bunch of dangerous white supremacist hikers out there. So they had to create some black only hiking trails so that people would not have the trauma of running into white people when they're out hiking in Oregon. Because, all the black people hiking. So anyway, Oregonian reports that hiking groups in Portland are encouraging non-white people to band together in the outdoors so that they can feel safer. The report notes that the heads of groups like Unlikely Hikers and Outgrown and People of Color Outdoors understand black people's sometimes wavering comfort level when wandering in the wilderness. There's a lot of, maybe it's, okay, I can't even make, I don't want to make that joke. That's bad for me even saying it. Anyway, it adds that the groups want to make recreational public land feel more welcoming to people who are more afraid of encountering a person with a prejudice than a mountain lion, basically. So, okay, you just have to read it to believe it. It'll be in the links. By the way, all these links during the outro, I'll drop them in the chat. So if you want to hang around and find that link to the links, or you can find it in the description later today or on Discord. I put every show replay and the links to the articles in the Discord server also under the show links. So anyway, that this one's great though. You got to read it. Trail of Tears only progress. Okay, yeah. And then apparently there's a university professor, a dean of a university, who says white people benefit more from Social Security. He's the dean of Tulane University's Public Health and Tropical Medicine. Thomas Levice said that white people benefit more from Social Security because of structural inequality. During Washington Post Live Health Equity event on Tuesday, he suggested that structural inequalities within the healthcare system cause white people to have longer lifespans and therefore benefit more from Social Security than black people. White people benefit from Social Security longer because they live longer, or from more than black people because they, on average, live longer. Everything is racist. Everything will put you under the ground. Everything is racist. And finally, in the American Thinker today, this article on why hasn't it been a big story that Los Angeles has had record cool temperatures in 2023. Yeah, they're not. Oh, what the hell happened there? Sorry about that. Shouldn't it be a huge national story that a big city like LA has had record stretch where it didn't hit 80 degrees in 60 days in May and June? After all, the media always warns us that the earth is getting dangerously warmer. But in Los Angeles, they've had a cool streak for an entire year so far. Look, here's the thing, and I'm gonna finish up with this. The reason that Los Angeles has not seen a single day 80 degrees or more in May or June, this record cool streak, I can tell you exactly why it happened. Hi, Uncle Bobbity. I can tell you exactly why it's happened. Because of global warming. Yes, it's more proof of global warming. Okay, a unseasonably cool year in Los Angeles is more proof of global warming. Okay, just in fact, the government's going to step in. Okay, if they tweeted this out, I'm sure that someone from the Biden administration is going to call up Twitter and say, sir, yes, the American Thinker has tweeted out an idea that record cool temperatures in Los Angeles may be more proof of global warming. Well, just let's make sure that is not misinformation, that Los Angeles actually has indeed had the warmest summer ever in the history of summers in Los Angeles, and that they did not have a record cool streak. Okay, just make sure that you take that post down from the American Thinker. And and it's racist too. So there you go. On that note, everybody, thank you for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. I will be here again tomorrow around 10 o'clock Eastern. Sometimes it's a little later because of my work, how long I end up getting stuck at work. But I will do my best to be here at 10 o'clock Eastern sharp. if I can. Otherwise, I'll be here. Just look for the notifications, and I post on Twitter when we are going to start the show, and I also post on Locals. Follow me on Locals. That's another place to follow me. If I don't show up on YouTube someday because of the powers that be deciding that I am too spicy I'm not spicy at all. I'm pretty milquetoast. But anyway, decided that I said something wrong or something that the Biden administration feels should be taken down, it's possible that I might not be here, so you'll only see me on Rumble, so you should follow me on Rumble and you should follow me on Locals. Those links will be in the description and in the links at the end of the show. By the way, stick around for the links. I got to go. Thanks. My name is Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thanks for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.